Probably one of the top 5 commonly used formula in mathematics is the quadratic formula, which is x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2x. This quadratic formula is helpful in solving for the roots of a quadratic equation or solving for the zeros or x-intercepts of a quadratic function. Today, I will be showing you how did we arrive to this quadratic formula. Quadratic formula can be derived using completing the square given a quadratic function in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, which is the standard form of a quadratic equation. So, when solving for the solutions of a quadratic equation using completing the square, the first thing that we need to do is to make sure we only have x squared in this problem. So, we need to divide first every single term by that a value. And this becomes now x squared plus b over ax, and I will transfer c over a to the right side. That becomes negative c over a, and of course 0 over a is equal to 0. So using the concepts of completing the square, we need to figure out what to add to the left side and the right side expression to complete the square. And again, if we recall the method in completing the square, we need to get half of b over a and then square it. Again, we need to get half of that b over a and then we square that. Which means that becomes now b squared over 4a squared, which is b over 2a to the second power, or that b over 2a to the second power is the same thing as b squared all over 4a squared. Now, left side of this equation is a perfect square trinomial. So, left side can be factored out as x plus b over 2a square. And for the right side, we can combine the two fractions negative c over a plus b squared over 4a squared using the LCD. And the LCD is 4a squared. Since the LCD is 4a squared, this means that the first fraction needs to be multiplied by 4a. And when we multiply that by 4a, this becomes now negative 4ac, and b squared remains the same. Now we need to get the square root to both sides, and when we do that, we will have x plus b over 2a is equal to plus or minus the square root of the numerator. And that square root of numerator cannot be simplified, and I will rewrite it as b squared minus 4ac. It's the same thing as negative 4ac plus b squared. Now, what is the square root of your denominator for a squared? 2a, right? So we need to put now here 2a as part of our denominator. And solving for x by itself, this means we need to subtract negative b over 2a to both sides. And when we subtract negative b over 2a to both sides of the equation, this can be simplified now as x is equal to negative b over 2a plus or minus, and we have b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. This negative b over 2a plus or minus b squared minus 4ac is also the same thing as negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. We simply write these two fractions as a single fraction. And this is now the same thing as the quadratic formula that we are using to solve for the roots of a quadratic equation. And that's how you derive quadratic formula from the standard form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 using completing the square. Thank you, and hope you know now how we get this quadratic formula.